So for the agenda, we're going to start off with the factors you may feel about like mental health. Mental health you're going to experience at SCU and how that's going to affect you. The resources on campus, our support system, tips and tricks that you can use, and then our conclusion.
Okay, so with that being said, of course, mental health has become a really important issue to discuss. So just like a little definition, it's the state of your mental well-being due to like emotional, physical, social aspects. This is just part of what is mental health. And then right before we do get into like, I guess, the upcoming slides, I did just want to give a trigger warning that some of these topics may be uncomfortable for some of y'all. And I just wanted to let y'all know that we acknowledge that. And I just wanted to give this brief disclaimer before we get started. So next slide, please. So first, we're going to get into the factors of mental health. So of course, there's mental illnesses that people can get diagnosed with. These are just a list of some of the ones that people may have, such as like anxiety, eating disorders, PTSD, schizophrenia, personality disorders, and the list goes on. It's way more beyond this. But next slide. You don't actually have to have or be diagnosed with a quote unquote illness to experience some of these feelings that might come with some of these disorders. And again, the word illnesses and disorders, it's just been like kind of known by culture. Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong if anyone is diagnosed with these types of things. It's just how it's been normalized. So I wish there was another word that I could have used besides this. But again, you don't have to have an illness to feel this. Right now, here is just a list of some of the stuff that you may be feeling. And like as y'all did share during your introductions, there's a lot to be nervous about going to a new school in a new country, in a new state, far away from your friends. It's really hard being on your own when you've never done it before. And then, especially for a lot of us, we got used to online classes. Of course, it looked very different depending where you were in the world. But going into an in-person college can be so dramatic. Like the change can be so dramatic. And also there's these stigmatisms such as what you see on movie screens about sororities and Greek life. There's so much stuff that plays into your mental health right now before you even step foot onto campus. So what I would like to say about that, next slide, is that you don't need, well, this is a quote I found, that you don't need to see the whole path to keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other. So it's just like a step-by-step guide that to take it one day at a time. There's so many things to be nervous about, like your social life, or if you're even gonna like your professors, but you're not even on campus yet. So I know it's cliche, but like to take a deep breath and to focus on the time that you have right now with your family is one of the biggest advice I could give to you for this moment, because your family is going to miss you and you're going to miss them terribly. So they're right there with you. So instead of trying to worry so much about the future, like focus on them. And then once welcome weekend comes, you can start ramping up those gears into figuring out what your college might look like.
Okay, so now this is what you might experience while you're here at SCU. Um, so some of the impacts you might have on your mental health can be from self-esteem, friendships, relationships, academic burnout, loss, upbringing, mental, physical disability. Um, okay, to some extent, these are, I feel like what most of our students feel at SU, which is homesickness, especially if you're out of state. Like you're obviously gonna miss your family, your friends, just being on your couch in your bed, like you're gonna be away for a while. So it's natural to feel homesick. Academic burnout is a big one. I know someone mentioned about like being nervous about the quarter system, and it's manageable, but obviously it is like an adjustment you have to make, and it can be a bit overwhelming at times if you don't know how to manage your time. So if you like push yourself super hard and then like through it, 10 weeks seem short and it isn't a long time, but it can feel long, especially like academic wise. So just be sure to like manage your time wisely and to not push yourself too hard. And then imposter syndrome, which is feelings of self-doubt, and can occur with social life, academics, and accomplishments. And especially since we're at a predominantly white institute, then that means like it's a bit different. I know a lot of people mentioned about like the culture shock and how that might affect you, and like those two kind of go together. So that's something you might experience, but it's okay. We're going to give you some tips at the end on how to deal with it.
Okay, so we do have a number of resources at SCU that can help you out. We just listed a few. You know what the next slide. So we do have the Wellness Center, which basically helps students with kind of recentering them. And really, if you have anything to talk about, you can go to the Wellness Center. It's opposite Swig. There's a little house, it's opposite Swig, so it's really close by. You can just go in there and hang out, ask them if you want to play around with some games that they have, just to kind of chill or de-stress. But you can always ask them if you want to talk about something pretty important too. We have CAPS, which is our official counseling services at SCU. So you can take an appointment with them. You can call their CAPS number, which is on the screen. Or if there's an emergency, like you need to talk someone down when they're having a panic attack or something like that, you can call their 24/7 number even after their hours. And they can talk to you, they can help you talk to a professional in emergency situations. You have campus safety, which can help you in extreme emergency situations. You have an SCU emergency number, and then you have an SCU non-emergency number. We do recommend that you save these in your contacts just so that you don't have to dial it. You can just click and then somebody will be on their way to help. And campus safety is pretty fast, so they reach your location if you're on campus pretty quickly. And then we have EMS in case you have you need help with your physical health, or you feel like something's going wrong and you need medical attention. You can also always call 911 if it is a medical emergency, or it's something really serious. You can always call 911 and campus safety is automatically notified, so they will come to your location. And the STAR means these resources are confidential, which means they're not obligated to report it to the police, or they're not obligated to really tell anyone, even if there is some imminent danger, or really if usually the law requires it. So just keep that in mind when you're going to these services, so you know what kind of services you're being offered. And then we've put a couple of other resources like your MCC clubs, your campus ministry, your CFs and SFs, which are your community facilitators and spiritual facilitators that are in your residence halls that you can talk to if you feel like you need just someone to talk to, someone to vent to. And especially in your first month when it's a little harder to make friends, you can always go to them and ask them a little bit of their time and then talk to them about concerns you have. Some basic problems that everyone experiences are like homesickness, or if you feel like you're not able to spiritually center yourself, if you feel like you're experiencing some sort of discomfort with your sexual orientation, or any LGBTQ matters too. So you have a couple of resources. You can always search them up on our SCU website or look them up on Instagram, but they're always a good resource to just go and talk to. You can walk into their office or text them and then figure out a time to meet. So we're gonna share what personally worked for us when we were feeling down or we were not mentally healthy, what kind of support systems each of us had. So me personally, I really relied on my high school friends because we were really, really close. They are not halfway, they're all over the world. But I do keep in touch with them. So every night I talk to them just because of the time difference. But it worked out. So I talked to them a lot, and all of us were going through a lot of similar things. So it really helped. So if you can, or if you want to, keep in touch with some of your old friends too, just because they've known you for a really long time and they can help you out.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. So for me personally, throughout the year, I struggled a lot with, I guess, it was mostly a culture shock for me, even though like I was close to Santa Clara. So that's kind of like what I was dealing with, just because it was just a different experience for me. Because like in my old high school, I guess it was more, there's more mixed races, so like a lot of people were biracial as well. But like when I went to Santa Clara, like that was like my biggest struggle, as well as just like not being able to fit in, just because I was, when I applied for housing, I applied really late and I ended up being on a sophomore floor. And on top of that, it was like a residence hall that I personally didn't want to live in. And I moved in way later than they did. So I just felt like a weird person, just like moving in late. And like everyone, I thought they had already clicked and I thought they were already doing fine. So that kind of like pushed me away. And like I started like being really quiet. So it was kind of like also a personality shock for me going to Santa Clara. So what helped me through those times was, I know I'm lucky and like I was able to pick a school that was really close to where I used to live, or where I live. So I would go home a lot on the weekends. I just felt like that was comfort and it was like home for me. So I would like to do that as much as I could, especially in fall quarter. But on top of that, like throughout the year, what really helped me was like MCC clubs. So like they're the culture clubs on campus. And I was in Barcata, and going to those weekly meetings just really helped like uplift me, just because I know to some extent some of these people are feeling what I'm feeling too. Like I'm not gonna talk about like my issues like in like general meeting at a culture club, but I just know that like deep down it's like I could tell that some of these people are stressed like me, and that just like it made me feel like I wasn't alone, and that really helped a lot. And then, as this just said, keeping your home friends close and your family, like everyone, even like the whole OL team, they know like they were like calling their parents on like the first week they moved in. Like it's completely normal to call home, to talk to your family, to send pictures, because it's what you know, and it makes you feel comfortable. So that's how that really helped me get through my first year.
Okay, for me, since I'm out of state, that was already like a lot for me. Just coming to live with myself. I didn't really know anyone in the area, I didn't have family. So I was just already coming in really nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was gonna make any friends, and like I was just nervous about that. And then also, like Catherine said, the culture shock, it was really big for me. I come from a majority Hispanic high school, so like it was a lot to handle for me. Um, but I guess what helped me a lot was the clubs I was in. I came in through the Lead Scholars program, and that helped me a lot. I was able to make like a really close friend group through that club, and they're also in my same major, and we joined all of the same clubs. So I got to stick with that same group throughout like my first year, and they helped me with a lot of like any struggles I went through. Anytime I felt homesick, like they were a great support system for me. And then also calling back home every now and then. Obviously, like my friends can only do so much, but I just needed to talk to my family sometimes. So calling them, not every day, obviously, because like we need our own space, but anytime I felt homesick or anytime I just needed to hear my mom or my sisters or anything, I'd call home. But yeah, I think just the clubs I joined, the friends I made, and like the connections from back home is what helped me get through my first year.
I'm sorry, I did just want to mention, because like we know like some other orientation leaders who like really utilize their CFs and their SFs to like the best extent possible. So I know like we mentioned some resources on the previous slide, and some of them might seem scary just because a lot of them you are talking to adults. However, like your CFs or your SFs, they're around your age. They're a little bit older. They could be around your age, and they understand literally, or they might be living through exactly what you are, and they're literally there to help you. They have like drop-in hours, open hours, and most of the time, like that's a really good connection to have, since they're only in charge of like your floor every 2 floors. So they're able to be there for you, and you get to really create a different relationship with them. So they'll always be there for you as well, as someone like your age.
Okay, now we're gonna get into some tips that can help you. Um, welcome weekend tips. So that's what amazing about orientation, about Bronco Exchange, is that you're meeting so many new people and like y'all get to connect. I know a lot of y'all follow each other on Instagram now, and like this is already like the start of it. These people you meet, you get to meet them like your first weekend there, and you already have a friend there. You already have us as friends. Like you can come up and talk to us, and we'll be your friend. We're already your friend. And then for like generally in SCU, um, you're young. I don't know how to phrase this. Okay, you're young, and like obviously what you're gonna go through is gonna be hard, but you're going to college, you're gonna have fun. So like you're gonna go through some bad times, but there's also gonna be a lot of fun times, and you're gonna like it might be some of like the best times of your life. So just know that like you're gonna be okay no matter what you go through, like you're gonna get through it and everything is gonna be okay. And then for your personal life, like we said mentioned, like for our support systems, call home. And like if you can, if you're local, maybe go visit your family every now and then, and just make time for like the people in your life that like help you and support you, because that's what's really gonna help you get through it. And these are just some little tips that you can help like with your mental health. Social media break. I know I took one like a couple months ago, and that helped me a lot. Social media can be very toxic at times, so it's okay to like take a break from social media, even just like electronics in general. Physical activity, going on a run, going on a hike, that can be very helpful. I know I do yoga for that. Journaling, it's if you not a very big person about like expressing your emotions and talking to others, I feel like journaling is a great way to open up and just write down what you're feeling, so like you don't bottle all of that in and then like explode one day and then you feel so overwhelmed. Sleeping, getting rest, your body needs a break. If you're gonna be at SU, it's gonna be draining sometimes, so you need to take a break, take a nap, get some rest, fuel your body, make sure you have energy. If you need to take vitamins, eat food, whatever you need to do, make sure you're fueling your body and taking breaks. And then talking to someone. There's a lot of resources we mentioned earlier that you can talk to at SCU, but even if you just need to talk to your friend, a family member, anybody, just talk to somebody and let them know what you're going through and how you're feeling, because you should not be going through this alone. And then places to go alone if you want to be by yourself while experiencing mental health like issues. Here are some places on campus that you can go to that we really enjoy. The parking lot roof behind Dowd. Anywhere on campus at night, but yeah, please be safe. It can be dangerous sometimes. So maybe go on a walk with your friend or go to the garden. It's really pretty. And yeah, the church after 9, it's really like there's lights around it, so it's okay. And then like the little garden on the sides, it's pretty. Levy Center parking lot, there's a seating area. I didn't know that, but that sounds like nice. Dowd Hall balcony, and then your room under your blanket. That too, I've done that a couple times. I know like under the desk, there's like a little space. I go under my desk sometimes, but yeah, anywhere. I feel like anywhere on campus at night is nice, even in the day sometimes, but there's, students on campus. Yeah.
Okay.
So just before no, we're kind of close to the end, but we wanted to share some of our personal tips / experiences about what we think would help if you feel like you need some downtime or really just how to cope with such a big change. Next slide. Okay, so each of us wrote 2 of them. So I'll start. One is give yourself time to adjust. It is a really big change. You go from coming home every day to eating meals that are given to you to kind of doing everything on your own. You have to study, you have to go and run errands yourself, you have to handle your finances yourself. It's a big change. So just give yourself time to adjust to it. Don't expect everything to just fall into place immediately. And it's okay to get frustrated because sometimes they don't work out, but it's a learning curve, and just be patient with yourself. And second is try to find an activity that can give you some temporary escape from like chaos. For example, during midterms week, which comes pretty soon because we're in the quarter system, it's a little chaotic because you have a lot of papers, a lot of exams coming up. For me personally, I usually say drumming, but I don't have a kit anymore. So I just go for a walk, kind of clear my head, just kind of stay away from all the chaos for a little while so that there's some relief and then go back to studying or whatever. So try to find an activity for yourself that you feel like just can give you some temporary relief from all I don't know, the difficult things in your life at that time.
And then I would just like to say to be proud of yourself. So in our generation, or just like as teenagers, it's really easy to downplay our experiences. Like, let's say, for example, like we are going to a private school. That's a big accomplishment. But obviously, when you go to private school, there's people who naturally have worked harder or have done better than you. And that's all great for them. But however, you have something that you're proud of for yourself. It may not be academics related. There's no list to what you can be proud of. Like you can have a good hobby that you really enjoy. You can be a top swimmer. There could be so much stuff that you're proud of. So just remember, because all of us are proud of something aside from being accepted into Santa Clara, because that's a really good school to even be accepted to in the first place. So there's so much stuff beyond that. Like, for example, like you can be proud of being confident enough to move away from home. Like it may seem like nothing, but it's a really big step. Because like, see, I couldn't even move away from home. Like I'll admit that, but I'm proud of other stuff in my life that I've done. So don't like downplay your own experiences because your paths are completely different. So just remind yourself of your accomplishments because all of them do matter because they matter to you. And then my other tip would be like, and I put this like on the Bronco exchange banner, but like, it's okay not to be okay. It is the most cliche thing ever. But again, in our time, it's so easy for us to be like, why am I mad? Why am I anxious? Why am I crying? Like, I should be studying. I should be doing this. When you're constantly thinking about what you should be doing and what you're not doing, it's like, it's just like bottling up in your head. But like, let's say, for example, like I do this all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm anxious. What do I do now? What are the next steps? Your mind completely changes when you start accepting what you're feeling because you go into the process of like problem solving and maybe discovering why you're feeling that way instead of telling your body that you're not feeling that way because obviously you're feeling that way for a reason. So you might as well accept it and then see where to go from there because validating your own feelings is super necessary. And because I'm letting you all know this, I want you all to tell your friends this as well. Like when they're going through something, validate it. Of course, it's really easy for us to be like, it's okay. You're going through a breakup. That's okay. Like you're heartbroken. Okay, how do we fix this? What's the next step? So validation is really important. And I'll pass it to Kayla.
Okay, for me, I put don't take on too much that you bring yourself out, and it's okay to say no. Personally, growing up, I was always told that like if you like give up on something or if you quit, like you suck pretty much. And it like kind of messed me up growing up. And I like even if I hated like going to like basketball practice or something, I like stick it out. And I've been doing that ever since, and I'm still working on it. But it's okay to like quit a club or to like, you know, take something out of your schedule and to say no to like going out or something like that because you need to take time for yourself. And it's okay if you don't like something, like you just need to learn what you like doing and then, you know, learn from that. But it's okay to say no and it's okay to quit. Quitting is not bad. And I don't mean like quit everything you do, but like if you need to drop a class, that's okay. Like I know I dropped a class this past year and I was freaking out, but honestly, it's not the end of the world and you're gonna be okay. And then another one I put is create good habits. Even if they're small, they still count. So like making your bed in the morning, like drinking a gallon of water a day. I don't know how much water you're supposed to drink. Like that stuff, like little things like that. Like, you know, I feel like if you feel good, then like it shows better and like throughout your life and it shows better and like academically and like mentally and all of that stuff. So those are two little tips I have. Oh, also, I forgot to mention about like a couple slides ago, but whenever we were talking about tips, meditation is a big one. And if y'all have heard about the Calm app, campus ministry actually has an account that you can use, and it's like the premium one, so you have access to all of the different meditations, just in case y'all wanted that. But
Okay, so obviously we know that when you share videos on Zoom, it will not show up right. So again, it's not as fun as like watching the TikTok. I'm gonna link the TikTok after I speak about it, so y'all can go watch that when you want. But this one basically says that negativity doesn't exist. And he's like, okay, you don't believe me? Then okay, then he goes like, don't think about an elephant. What pops in your head? An elephant. So that's basically showing how when you focus so much like on the negative, that's all you're going to think about. So like the example he was using, like if you're skiing down the mountain and you're like, how does he do that? Well, he's not saying don't think about the trees, don't think about the trees, because what is he going to do? He's going to run into the tree. He's thinking about like follow the path, like you got this, like you're gonna do that. And that's just shows how powerful or how much control you have over your own mind. So of course it's easy for me to be like, why am I anxious? Or don't be anxious when you're going to the gym, like don't do that, or like you're not going to lift this, like you're weak. All of that, I'm making that the reality, when instead of I'm like, even if it's fake, even if you're lying to yourself, it honestly helps when you're like the fake it till you make it thing. Like I'm going to pass this test, I'm going to study, I'm going to study. And if you fail the test, well, then you know you have to try harder, but at least you're going into it with a way better mindset than just being like, oh yeah, I failed it. See, I knew it, I was right, I knew I was going to fail it. So that's that. I'm going to link the TikTok because obviously we like watching those better. But that you can watch that later on. Go to the next slide. So mindfulness, this is a really big one, especially when it comes to yourself and with other people. You're going through stuff. Everyone is nervous about something. You chose to share earlier, so thank you for that. So be mindful of what you're going through. Like you don't have to take on the whole world this first day you go to Santa Clara on welcome weekend. If you don't want to open your door and be social, you don't have to do that because you can feel that you aren't ready yet, because that might happen with a lot of y'all, is that you're not ready to start college. No one says you have to start the second welcome weekend starts. You can start halfway through the year if you want to join a club. You don't have to start right at the beginning. Your starting point for being social is up to you. So be mindful of what you're going through. The really good thing about Santa Clara is that every experience that I have with my professor, I would always tell them, like, if something was going on, if I didn't want to be like hella detailed, they always understand to some extent. That's what I love about the professors here, is that you don't want to tell them maybe every single detail, but they're they appreciate that you're opening up to them, because professors at Santa Clara are starting to realize how big mental health really is. And then also be mindful of what your peers are going through. Of course, you don't know what's going on in their lives, but everyone is going through something. So if your friends seem a little bit mean, instead of like lashing out at them, realize that something may be like going on like in their head, and maybe just be there for them. Buy them a meal, do something nice like that, and it really goes a long way. And with that being said, we are going to get into like our Q&A session. And since this is a more, I guess, sensitive topic event, we do ask that, like, if you want to personal message us or direct message us any questions that you may have, because we're here to help you. It could be, if you want to ask something personal, you can ask it, and then we'll decide to what extent we might want to answer, just because we have had like our own experiences and we might not want to share all of that. But it doesn't hurt to try, because like, again, we hosted this event, so we're open and we're here to some extent for all of y'all. I know there was a question asked from Michaela, Michaela, of do the places you have for going alone are also a good place to cry? Yes, that's kind of like what we tried to do. It's like places where you could cry. Yeah, and I just thought of this on the spot like a couple hours ago, but like you could literally rent out a study room in the library and cry, and like to some extent it is like soundproof, like unless if like you're scream crying, then maybe people can hear you, but it is like there's windows and everything, so you could use that as a place.
oh my gosh, me and my friends actually did that. We rented out a room and we just sat there and cried about our physics test.
See, like,
yeah, use those study rooms.
okay. I got a question asked, like, do you have to pay for counseling? And I know the rules changed this year. Do you want to take it? No.
You don't, not anymore. You don't have to pay for counseling. Just book appointment with CAPS. And then I don't think you have to pay for any counseling at all anymore.
Yes, and also the numbers that we did put up a couple slides back. I believe there's like the 24/7 hour number that you can call and you get to speak with someone right away. So you don't have to think that you have to like wait to make an appointment to be able to speak with someone. Like you can use that number. It's there for you and it's completely free. I got a question asked like, where do you go to rent out rooms? I will find the website and I will link it right here, but you could rent out, the best ones I would say are in the library, just because the ones in Lucas, there's no door to them. So you can't really go there. I'm not sure about the other ones. Sorry, I'm like trying to find it. I'm pretty sure it's under your SCU portal and it would be room reservations. I'm checking. Yeah, no, of course. Sorry. I like haven't been to school in a while and I'm like forgetting how to do this. Oh yeah, okay. You literally just log into your SCU portal, like how you get to Camino. And like one of the little tiles actually says room reservations. So that would be like how you would rent a room. Oh. So I got a question asked, have any of us ever used the school resources on campus? So I have not, to be honest, just because I didn't really know about them too much. And because I felt like my friends were really good at supporting me in that way, but I'm not sure if any of y'all did.
I went to CAPS, but I eventually had to kind of drop out of it just because it was clashing with my schedule too much and it wasn't working out. But that's just a personal experience because not all maybe counseling styles or whatever it is work for everyone. So again, don't take my experience for like the hard truth or whatever. Definitely if you feel like you want to try counseling, try CAPS, see if it works out for you. It might not, it might. And we also have, I believe CAPS also helps you get acclimated with campus resources if you want. So you can ask them about that. And there's one person who specifically works just for campus resources and connecting you to them.
Yeah, I haven't used the resources, but maybe I will this year.
I got someone asking what's the worst part of the quarter system. So for me, I actually like the quarter system because I feel like in the semester system, it's easy to get bored, or like it's easy to slack off. Whereas in the quarter system, like you're like go, go, go. The thing I did not like about it is spring quarter, all your friends are out almost like a month earlier, 3 weeks earlier, and they're in their summer, and that really sucks when like you're taking classes. So that's why academic burnout is really probable during that corner. So please take your easy classes then and go easy on yourself, because it gets hard when it gets to spring quarter and you've done it for like 2 times and you're like trying to make it through week 7, 8, 9, and 10. How about you?
I hate finals week. Okay, I don't hate it, but it's so stressful for me, especially because I procrastinated a lot this past year and I studied like a day before my physics final, and that was not okay. But I think that's the hardest part for me. But I Yeah, that's just the hardest. It's not bad. I feel like if you're good at like managing your time, it's not bad at all. I'm just not.